interview, I choose a person I've been working beside for 4 years. I learned so much from him, and I think he's got a lot to share with the grower community. I want to introduce my friend and my mentor in horticulture production, Mr. Lubert Cameron. Everybody calls him Bart. Hi Bart.
Hi Sebastian.
Tell us a little bit about your history and your background.
So my father and his grandfather before, and also before that, were also all in the horticulture, some in landscaping or in greenhouses and outside bedding plants. So we have a long history of horticulture in Europe and in Holland. So this has been passed down to me from my father, and it's also like a feeling of growing. It was more passed down. So when you didn't do it properly, my father would also tell me or make me wet because I was doing it the wrong way.
So you immigrate to Canada?
No, I was born in
okay.
Quebec, but my mother and father immigrated in Canada 10 years before I was born.
Okay, and then from Quebec you moved to Ontario?
Yeah, then we moved to Ontario, and then after time we moved around different greenhouses, and then I worked here later when I was started about 19 years old.
Whoa, that's a long career in this greenhouse. So we can feel you're so passionate, and as far as I remember working with you, I've always been amazed by the feeling you have with your plants. Looking from the outside, it looks like there is a communication, a telepathy, and they talk to you. Can you explain us a little bit how it works for you?
Well, the main thing with plants, you have to have a feeling and know your plant of what it should look like and what should be like before it happens. So know your plants, know your colors, and know leaf shapes and varieties of different things. Every plant is different, so you cannot use the same thing for every plant, but plants do talk for stress or color or other symptoms. So if you see that in your plants, they do talk. It's just like a person. So if you treat plants like people, they will treat you the same way back.
Okay, and maybe you're looking at the new growth or at the roots? And
the roots is very important. When you start plants, the most important is the beginning of your cuttings. So it's the propagation area is your start. So the start is very important. How you get the start of your plant. The better start you have, the better finish you end up with. So the root system, you always want a lot of roots in the beginning. So when you do transplant, then the roots do explode into much more. It's just like eating more vegetables in the start, you feel better in the next day. If you eat too much chips or bad stuff, you don't feel.
Yeah.
So same as a person.
So it's like a challenge to avoid stress from the very beginning and,
Yes.
and make them strong from the very beginning, so that you got strong plants, and then they just grow the right
so
way.
It's a big feeling. Like, so you have to feel your plants. You have to live like a plant. So if you're into your plant, you know your plant.
Okay, yeah, it's all about observation, experience, and
Yes.
and it cannot happen in a day. Like
No.
you've been in that business for 30 years, a little bit more.
Yeah.
So that's
true. So
all
even from people from
built-
Europe coming here, they still ask questions. What do you do differently than they do? Because sometimes things look better here than over there. Our climate is different. Our feeding is different. So you can't always say it's the same climate, because it's not. You have to experiment also. You just don't always stick with the book. You have to change the way things are done sometimes, because in black and white is not always the way.
Could you give us a tip you would tell to growers?
When you're growing plants, always know your plant. Find out most information you can before you start a new crop. and then learn the crop if you can from other growers to help. That helps a lot. Listen and do a lot of observation, and also go in email and the web pages. There's lots of information also what helps. But get to know your plant is the most important.
What is your pest management strategy? How do you run it?
If you can control your pests from the beginning of your crop in your propagation area, and you can put a lot of bugs, good bugs, to kill the bad bugs before you go to the second stage, is the best way to control your bugs.
Just starting clean.
Start clean. Yes.
Yeah. What do you see for the future of the horticultural business?
There's lots of forecasts and new products coming, new plants, old plants, what coming back into the new age, because everybody comes back with the old ones again. So there's lots of new crops coming out and lots of new varieties and plants what people are interested in. So there's lots, plants will never stop.
Okay, and one last question. So if some people wants to reach you, what would be the best way?
If you like to talk to me or something, the best way to start is probably contact me on my email. It's the best way to contact, and we can go from there.
Okay, thank you very much,
Hey,
Bart.
thank you, Spud.